For the better part of a half hour while we all talk about everything that's super important in the universe, we got Chris DeBona.
Hi.
Rob Roseboom.
That's me.
I pressed the button out of order, so we lost the first like 5 seconds. It's tragic.
Of what?
Of the broadcast.
The YouTube?
Yep. All right. The most important thing you have on the screen right now, because Kat and I watched this several times yesterday and just laughed and laughed. This is Tron Deepfakes, the Tron Legacy, notoriously a incredibly terrible face replace or a face de-aging. Nothing about that was right. They deepfaked it, and it is so close to flawless. It's
so much better. There was some flickery around his hair here, but like, wow, they got it really right. Look at this. It's so much better than this weirdness. What is going on with his eyes? Yeah. I remember watching
really bad allergies.
He had bad allergies.
He's all puffy and gross. But yeah, I mean, this wasn't Carrie Fisher bad from like Rogue One, but it was, uncomfortable. I do wonder, so, all right, with GPUs where they are now, how close are we to being able to do this at some level in real time? Because it's got to be getting really friggin' close.
Well, I don't know if you're going to get that 3080 from Micro Center.
No, I'm not.
Maybe you can tell us.
It's an hour away. I'm not going there and then having it not be there.
Well, the thing is also when a store like Micro Center or Fry's or whatever says they have one of something, they don't have it.
It's code.
Right.
There's no way.
It's code for go ahead. Use your
It's
gas.
like DNI. It's sitting inside a block of lucite somewhere as a display model or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's just not a thing.
But
like the mouth is so wrong on the original one, and it's so much better in the other one.
That's such a weird technology too, because at the end of the day, it's so much easier than the way that they did it. They did it the hardest way imaginable. You know, they build the friggin' 3D model.
Well, this is the Zemeckis style, man.
Yeah.
Like, what was the
Polar Express
the Tom Hanks thing? Yeah, this is the Polar Express technology on the left, and it's crap.
No, it's not that, because we're 20 years past that.
It's nightmarish.
This is what this was. So in 2010 is when this came out. This is kind of so they tried to make a main character sustain it for a lot of shots, and like in the same era, I think we have like Tony Stark was de-aged to be like 80s Robert Downey Jr. for like 2 shots.
That's right. During the Winter Soldier or Civil War.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah. But I mean, like that was state of the art at the time. This was state of the art at the time too, but just never crossed the uncanny valley. It's crazy to me because like the three of us could sit down and with the collective GPUs that the three of us own, we could train up a model for anybody we want and do this. Now, the three of us could not create a 3-dimensional model of any human being and render it and animate it convincingly. And that's crazy to me. Just in a decade that we've come to a point where it's not flipping a switch, but it's almost flipping a switch. And I wonder how close we are to real time. Those are... Because, I mean, okay, I'm looking at you, Chris, right now. You're blurry. Your camera's soft. I don't know if it's my internet or your internet. You're soft. But you're like 320p.
I think I just need some Windex.
That could be.
What?
But you're
it's your internet. Your internet drives me crazy.
Rob is crystal clear. The amount of blur in your picture, you're probably less than 480p, 320p, somewhere in that range. I just
what is going on today.
I gotta wonder. No, I'm just wondering how much GPU you need to fake that much face. You know, this is
I see.
This is a 4K image.
I don't know. You probably need a 480 for me. I'm not that special. You know.
I don't know. I'm just fascinated by it, and one of these days I'm gonna do it just for fun. Maybe that's why I need a 3080 is to deep fake something.
Yeah, you look pretty good. I'm looking at the YouTube simulcast over here. I look a little fuzzy. Rob looks a little fuzzy. You look spot on, but
Well, yeah.
you gotta get better internet, man.
I kind of wonder if this
Call
just
your
has
provider.
It's not me. At this moment, it is not me.
This might be download quality on your side. Just saying.
If that was true, that would be impacting all of the frames in my screen simultaneously, and not just your camera.
Rob and I basically look about the same quality. Oh no, I've stalled out. I'm so tired of this crap.
Chris, it's you, man. So
It's not me.
let's see. We've got a baby embryo thawed out after 27 years and successfully implanted.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So, is this like one of those spite embryos where like a couple
Yep. It's Bill Gates' embryo.
broke up?
I didn't read the story
Molly
far
broke
enough
own
to.
sister's record. She'd been frozen more than 24 years. Wow.
Yeah. This did make me think about when I visited the cryogenic place out here, and my nephew was with me, and we got talking about whether or not if someone was frozen when they were 40 and they were thawed, 25 years later and brought back to life successfully, whether or not they could get Social Security at that point, even though they physically would only be 40, they would actually be 65. So this made me think about whether or not this baby could get alcohol right now or not.
I mean, I think that, well, her name is Molly. And I think that Molly's going to have a hard time driving to the corner liquor store.
Sure, but there's Uber for that.
That's
right?
true. She can just Uber herself to the liquor store. Frozen in 1992. So when she was frozen, I was in high school.
You're in high school. What are you saying that you're somehow connected to this baby?
Dude, there's about 150 jokes that just immediately sprung into my mind from that statement. But I'm going to go ahead and say that in 1992, ain't nobody, I'm not making a lot of embryos and I'm not freezing them.
and no one's freezing Rob's embryos in 1992.
Right. I'm 16.
So I'm looking up the most popular movies of 1992, and so many of them could make a great joke about this. The embryo was in a cool world.
Oh.
It was fertilized by a few good men. Maybe the embryo is the last of the Mohicans. Sorry.
I don't think it's been frozen since the 1800s.
Maybe it was found Howard's End.
92 was a bad year for movies. 93, I think, is the good. Is 93 the best year for movies? There's always a thing, because that's like the year that Jurassic Park came out.
I don't know, man. We got Sneakers in 92. That's an
Sneakers
amazing movie.
great.
That
I need to
pulls the whole year up,
If we ever officially take movie night into the 90s, Sneakers is
we have yet. I think the latest we got was 89.
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever drawn a line in where it is, but for me, I kind of feel like the 80s is a pretty good line. I feel like the line is kind of like movies that I could have biked to the video rental store and theoretically rented as a kid. That's kind of where I think of the limit. So you can't have Jurassic Park. I could have driven to Jurassic Park. That's my theory.
Right. I've been only choosing movies that came out when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of the 80s mostly. I don't think we've touched. Yeah, we've touched the 70s and 80s. We haven't touched the 90s. Bad touch, good touch.
Bad touch, good touch.
But there's some great movies in the 90s and some very bad movies.
Oh, for sure.
Wow, there's some real stinkers.
It's true.
Anyway,
so the Arecibo collapse, there was drone footage. And yeah, the clip that was going around had two different angles, and I was laughing pretty hard actually when it came out, because the guy steering the drone did exactly what I would do, which is things are dropping, and then he thank you. He immediately changes his camera angle to catch something else. It might be the second clip, but in the process of changing the camera angle, he basically misses the whole thing. was like, that would have been
Yeah,
me.
I saw that one too. I think that's the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is just the one where you're like, holy crap. And then
Yeah.
it pulls down the mansion on the left. And you're like, oh boy. You can almost hear it, even though I shut off the sound. It's like
even muted, it's
twisted
deafening.
metal. Oh. It's heartbreaking too. Here's the that's pre-collapse. Yeah, I don't know where the other one was.
It's at the end of the video. It's at the like halfway through the video. It switches to a different camera.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and like you can tell it's a drone pilot, and the drone pilot is just like,
oh this
no.
one, yeah.
He's like, oh no, I gotta take a picture of what's happening, and then he photographs everything else, misses it all. You got 3 seconds.
You know, also he's like, oh, if I'm too close to this, it could be very bad.
That's true. This drone is really close.
He did get a really good shot of that wire frame, though.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
It's like right here. He's like, come on, man, just go down a little bit. Come on, just there you go, a little bit more. Come on, just.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, you know, we've got a head-mounted thing for my drone where it wherever you look, it turns the camera.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'll have my son like use that, and I'll fly around. You know, and it's
you're getting your dronies.
Yeah, who doesn't like a good droney?
I've literally I did a droney of Nate, and that's I think the only time that I've tried to actually do a droney. But we did it socially distanced. I can take a picture of my socially distanced.
You use drones to take care of your social distance?
Oh, Cliff just says, I'm looking at you, Chris. You're soft.
You know, I can reload again. I'd have to restart the whole computer.
It is not.
If it's me.
It is you. And it is, but it is not necessarily your office.
As long as we're going to the video fun factory of your
there you go
AV system, man, I'm not gonna. I'm only gonna give you like 75%.
All right.
Of me being the blame. So.
All right, you can take as much or as little blame as you want. TSMC has announced that they're gonna have 3 nanometer CPUs in 2022, and I just gotta.
They're executing over there. I mean, I admire the heck out of that company for being able to pull this off. I mean,
I want to see. I want to have a hidden microphone in the Intel meetings where they're like, okay, so let me just see if I understand this is straight. They're going to be beating us by 10 nanometers. They are going to be beating us by like 4 generations.
You know what I would do if I were at Intel? Actually, I would say, listen, we're going to start measuring our gates the same way TSMC is, so that the world knows that we're only a little behind and not 10 nanometers behind. Because their 7 nanometer process was the equivalent of like an Intel 12.5, 13.
Right, but they
so
haven't
Intel's
changed
gotten down
it.
to 10 nanometers the way Intel measures it, which should be actually theoretically a little better than TSMC's 5 nanometer, right? But the reality is TSMC is beating that ass with both marketing and execution. And also the way they 3D stack the chips is frankly
more efficient,
better than what Intel is doing. And so they get the credit.
Well, that's why.
But if I were at Intel, I'd be like, keep working. Restate how we say these things so that we use the same measurement style as TSMC. We don't care if it's a lie scientifically. We're gonna compete, right? And then they have to get off their butts and really master, these extreme ultraviolet, masking techniques. But it's really like Intel, what happened? What happened to you?
That is the power of the monopoly, man. You get up to the top of the mountain and you just chill out there for a few years until somebody comes and kicks your butt.
Well, they really milked it for the better part of 12, 13 years, right? Made an astonishing profit. And then here comes TSMC. Whack!
Rob, the next story on the list is more for you and I. But there's a new season of Trailer Park Boys, which I'm sure is going to be just as mediocre as the last 3 or 4.
I'm sure.
But they also have an unaired Christmas special, which is apparently the last thing filmed by Leahy before he died.
The best Trailer Park supervisor
of course,
ever on television. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I understand why they are doing so many seasons now, that they actually own the rights to their characters and their,
Did they lose the rights to their characters?
They didn't have them at first. The Canadian broadcast company, and I can't remember what Ricky's father, what that guy's real name is, but he's the one who sort of got the show on the air. So they didn't have the money or creative control completely over those characters. But then when the Canadian Broadcast Company got rid of it and they signed a Netflix deal, they got creative control and the purse. So they are just trying to make their money. And I appreciate that. But yeah, they're about probably 7 or 8 seasons too far into the show, in my opinion. Now, having said that, I'll totally watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
And you said that Leahy is the one who... I'm so confused. Who died?
Leahy's died.
That's the character's name, though.
Yeah, no, the actor Dunsworth died 3 years ago. And the show lacks for it. I mean, they need that. I don't know. He's such an out there character. The show needed that, and they have not replaced it.
Well, he was their foil for,
what was his role
right?
in the show? I've only seen like 4 episodes of it.
Oh, he was the trailer park supervisor. He was.
Oh, okay, sure.
He was the antagonist in most seasons, although they do occasionally work with him
for hijinks and shenanigans.
Yeah.
The main thing about him is that he was very quotable, and he was a drunk, and an insane drunk. And like everybody on the character or everybody on the show has their chemical dependencies, but nobody ever wore them as loudly as Leahy does.
Yes, his character was all about, being guided by the liquor. Lots of his quotes were, "Go with the liquor, bud." Just do what the whiskey tells you. And he was big on shit talk.
Yeah.
So his lines were, the shit hawks have come to roost. There's a shitacane coming, boys.
We're in the eye of the shitacane, Randy.
Yep. The liquor is calling the shots now, Randy.
I am the liquor. He was the one thing that when we saw those guys perform live, I would have liked to have seen him at the show.
He was at the one in Ann Arbor.
Was he? I didn't see that one.
There was a live in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that they were able to cross the border. All right, let's see. That was the only one. That was what I had on the list. We had a couple on channel.
Arecibo. Okay, there's Blobs. And
Ohio.
TSMC.
There's Ohio and Otter Penises, if we want to talk about that.
Yeah, we want to talk about them. I'm putting Ohio on the zone right now.
All right.
Oh, no. Tell me. Why?
About Ohio or Otter Penises?
Why not both? Oh, we also didn't talk about HBO.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're moving all of their dog crap onto HBO Max directly, and Dune.
There's a lot of movies in that list that I will be watching.
Sure. Okay. I buy it.
Suicide Squad, redo of The Matrix.
Wait, are they redoing The Matrix, or are they giving us a sequel?
Matrix 4, whatever that ends up being.
4? Wait, 4?
Yep.
That implies a 2 and a 3 that don't exist. Come on, man. Don't lie to me.
I hear you, but...
I love this. Let's talk about the Ohio story first of all. So Ohio, the great state of Ohio, is saying, "Hey, y'all, if you go to these states, don't come to Ohio, right? And if you do, you're gonna have to quarantine for 14 days." And then they added Ohio to the list.
Yep. So where do you go?
Where do you go?
I know it's like an Inception thing.
I guess you leave. You go to California. You go to Texas. Wow, look at that. Colorado's at 10%. Wyoming's at 11%.
Did you see that? Idaho was 49%.
49%.
Iowa was at 40. South Dakota was at 41.
How?
Because of freedom, man.
Yep.
Freedom. And Thanksgiving.
41%. What's
all,
43%? What state is that? That's to the right of South Dakota and south of that's
I
that's
can't.
Minnesota, and then south of Minnesota is
Kansas was really
Kansas.
big too.
Wow, 43%.
Oh, here we go.
That's amazing.
I found Rob's otter story finally.
And they're left of Georgia. That's what, Louisiana? 33. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just a suicide factory. I mean, at least they can breathe easy without a mask.
Right.
That's true. They don't have to worry about oxygen or getting carbon dioxide poisoning.
And surely it won't be even worse with Christmas coming up.
No.
Yeah. Wow.
And Thanksgiving just a week away, or behind us rather.
And we haven't seen a Thanksgiving surge yet. That's coming.
I think this is the beginning
This
of
is
it.
Dude, it hasn't even been a week, I mean, since everyone got together.
It's been 8 days. So
has it?
When did you have? So I know that you were
alone.
alone.
When do people have Thanksgiving?
Traditionally, Thanksgiving is held on Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's 8 days. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Just with the move and everything, I've been, holidays don't really mean anything. I mean,
I hear you.
I'm pretty sure that I live full time at the Medford Springfield Suites.
Lucky you.
I've stayed there like 5 times.
It's the midpoint between heaven and hell.
Well, it's 8 hours from here to there, and so it's kind of perfect in a 15-hour drive.
All right. I want to see a complete list of movies that the Warners are getting.
Yeah. Let's bring that up.
Although I had the tweet, not the
twerk.
The twerk. HBO Max.
Otter junk. I'm just not going to click through. I'm sorry. I love otters, man. Otters are the best.
Yeah, it probably might not be the best thing. Go ahead. Why am I clicking on a story about otter junk?
The otter thing is like, a sign of terrible stuff to come. Something that's already affecting more waterways here in the U.S. Like out west, there's a huge problem with hermaphroditic trout and salmon going up and down through streams because of all the artificial estrogen and detergents that are getting dumped into waterways, right? So now oil sands pollution from Canada is starting to make the otters lose their penis bones so they can't reproduce. And you talk about the end of the world, right? Like, well, there's a lot of mammals that have penis bones. And the end of the world movies, you always see, plague or war or something. But I mean, there's already the bottom of and amphibians have this problem too. Bottom of the food chain stuff is getting it so that they can't reproduce. And now it's moving up to mammals. So, the end of the world may not be plague or war. It just might be malfunctioning junk, so everyone, right.
Well, the good news is that since we now know that embryos can be frozen for 27 years, we should probably all start, collecting embryos and saving them for the future.
Sure, because
I think I've aged out of this problem.
Our floppy future is going to need frozen embryos, not to be too crude.
Isn't sperm count is down like 90% in the developed world, right? There's some like crazy statistic about that.
In some regions,
but
it's not 90, yeah.
But it's not nothing.
And girls are starting to menstruate like way earlier and going through menopause earlier because of the estrogen like chemicals and a lot of cleaning supplies and stuff like that. So I mean, I was reading a thing where girls are starting to menstruate when they're like 9 or 10 now in a lot of places that has bad pollution. So and that means they're going through menopause in their late 30s, early 40s.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an issue that a lot of people don't think about, but it's happening.
I will say, the end of civilization is important, but we do have to talk about the movies that are going to HBO Max.
Well, in a way, this is the end of civilization,
That's
right? Because theaters aren't going to exist.
Oh no, this is bad for theaters.
Yeah.
So 2021. Warner Brothers, Disney, Paramount is a separate entity. That's CBS, right? So CBS still has their whatever pipeline. But this is, I mean, Disney is going to probably follow suit, right? They've already done it with a bunch of their Disney, Pixar, Marvel stuff. But this we got. I mean, I will be seeing for sure Godzilla versus Kong, Mortal Kombat. I'll watch Space Jam. I like Space Jam. It's terrible.
Yeah, but would you go and risk your life in a movie theater for Space Jam: A New Legacy?
I would if one of my children wanted to see it, but I wouldn't go to a movie theater for
Have
that.
you met your children?
My children don't like movies.
They don't go to movies.
My children don't like sitting if it doesn't have an iPad on their lap. In the Heights, I want to see In the Heights.
What's In the Heights? I don't know what that is.
It's a musical.
Say no
Lin-Manuel
more.
Miranda did it. That's what he did before Hamilton.
Okay.
And if you like musicals, I've never seen the play, but the soundtrack, man, I had that soundtrack on loop for months. It's got some really. Cool...
Is it about the presidency of Chester A. Arthur or something? I mean, is it?
No, it's about a bunch of people who live in the Brooklyn Heights.
So it's Rent, basically.
No. Because Rent is like what
I actually have never seen Rent. I know it's about a bunch of apartment dwellers.
Well, Rent is kind of horrible. Rent is about people.
Is it?
Yeah, Rent is about people you don't like.
For the most part. Well, there's some really terrible.
I liked all the people.
in it,
Was
sure.
Avenue Q like a riff on Rent? But I liked Avenue Q.
Well,
Kinda.
Rent is a riff on La Boheme. La Boheme.
Good guy Richard.
No, the thing from like 100 years ago.
No.
But no, I liked the In the Heights soundtrack. I listened to it a zillion times after I listened to Hamilton a zillion times, so I'd like to listen to it. And it's if you like Lin-Manuel kind of raps and songs and stuff, it's really charming, and the singing is really good. The lyrics are really good. It's a solid thing, and it lends itself to becoming a real movie much more efficiently than Hamilton does. Hamilton cannot be a real movie. I don't know how you make a real movie out of that without it being dumb.
So I have a question. Why are we spending so much time talking about In the Heights when we could be talking about some Suicide Squad?
Suicide
reboot?
Squad? Yeah. No, it's
Isn't it a
Suicide
new
Squad 2.
Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
I think we need to focus more on Godzilla versus Kong, clearly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie.
Yeah.
I would totally go see that.
Honestly, I know it's silly, but like when they from the first moment they show the Monarch logo through the end, starting what 5 years ago now, I was on board. I didn't care how bad or good the movies were.
Absolutely.
Young
Rob Roseboom lived and breathed Godzilla and giant monster movies. They're just
amazing.
I love them. I love them.
I really liked the new Kong with John C. Reilly. I liked that a lot. The Godzilla was kind of a train wreck of horrible.
King of the Monsters.
Yeah,
that one.
But like it had stuff
it was
that
terrible,
was fun to watch.
But I loved
it was
every
bad.
minute of it. Dude, it had Mothra.
I know.
Yeah.
But I didn't
And
care about
Rodan.
anybody.
I think it had Gamera, right? It did have
It had what?
Gamera was at the very end.
No, it had Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
They had Gamera like do the sound of Gamera, right?
No, Gamera's a different world than Godzilla.
Oh, is he? I thought that there was a monster that yelled in the last scene, and that Gamera was the.
No, that was Enclidless. I think they call that monster.
And yeah.
It burrows through the ground.
Oh, I thought that was Gamera. Shows what I know.
No.
Wait, Gamera's in a different world? Are you sure? Because I remember Gamera fighting Mothra.
No, I'm absolutely positive he never fought.
And you would know.
He never fought Mothra.
Yeah, I love Gamera. He takes care of the children, you know?
I know. And he's filled with turtle meat.
He is.
He is filled with turtle meat.
I love you, Gamera.
I actually watched a fair bit of the Turkey Day Marathon recently. They put up a 12-hour clip of it, and I realized after a few minutes of it, I've seen all these, and it's kind of made me sad.
And Dune.
But they had already told us.
I think they're gonna let that hit. I don't know.
Well, they're gonna do the same thing with all of these. They're gonna be in theaters and streaming the same day, and you'll have a choice. And if you live in a market that can sustain, a movie theater, then you can watch it in a movie theater.
I have a question. If you drew a chart and the number of people who have died because they're old, fat, diabetic, sick of COVID, are any of their movies going into a theater?
Like, is there a Mamma Mia 3 happening?
Yeah, is there a
like
Madison County reboot?
Like
you know?
a sequel to The War with Grandpa?
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
stuff like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's like I'm looking for these are all aimed at, from the young through like our age, right?
Yep.
And we're less likely to die of COVID.
Right, but these are the blockbusters. These are the studio's dice rolls. Every one of these, they're hoping makes 200 million, and they're hoping that one of these, maybe two of them, make $1 billion. That's the dice roll on this, and they basically just said, we're gonna wipe our hands of $2 or $3 billion worth of box office. None of that percentage is going to go to the theaters.
Get all y'all to give us $14 a month,
and you'll get $14 a month to subscribe to HBO. And I got to tell you, man, like, you look at the math on Netflix. Netflix has got 70 million subscribers. Even if everybody's paying $10 a month, and even if it costs a couple $100 million to serve a month's worth of bandwidth to 70 million users, you still have $500 million a month.
They have 70 million US subscribers.
Yeah.
They have 167 million worldwide. So that's 1.6 billion a month, right?
Yep.
Or about 16 to 20 billion a year, right?
Be conservative.
So
Be conservative. Right. You have to spend $10 billion a year making TV shows.
Yeah.
But I mean, that, like, you can see what the math is here, right? They can, like, and we were saying it right on this call. I will probably see 8 of those 10 of those movies. You guys would probably see 2, but there's a pretty good chance that by the end of this year.
So let me tell you about Tom and Jerry and me. Okay, I grew up on Tom and Jerry. I love Tom and Jerry. I tracked down the old Tom and Jerry to show my children because the new Tom and Jerry sucked.
Horrible.
It was awful.
Oh yeah.
And if this movie is anything like new Tom and Jerry, I want to burn it to the ground.
Well, looking at this, there's already a lot of chances in this. Like, right, the Suicide Squad underperformed, so they're trying to redo it. Who the hell knows? The last Godzilla movie way underperformed. So they're trying Godzilla versus Kong. Let's see. The Matrix. Who knows if anyone's going to go watch that remake? Dune. Who knows how many people are going to watch Dune? Right.
Well, I mean, it's got great star power, but Dune is hard. Right?
There's another Conjuring movie in there, and that whole horror franchise is about petered out. There's a lot of stuff in there that would be dicey if movie theaters were open yet.
Yeah,
but these days,
I mean, that's kind of Warner in a nutshell, man. It's like Matrix 4, 2 and 3 were not good. It poisoned the well.
Yeah,
so are they?
There's enough history, but there's enough water under the bridge now that nobody remembers 3 and 4. Nobody remembers those other movies. I mean, I think it really comes down to half of those movies are going to make $100 million because they're going to underperform. A quarter of those movies are going to make $200 million. They're going to make back their money if they were in a normal year. But 2 of those movies are going to make $1 billion, or would have in a normal year. I don't know which 2.
Right.
But that's the
Space Jam.
I totally forgot about Wonder Woman too.
Yeah.
They are hoping that Wonder Woman manages somehow to break even at this point.
Yeah. And I think that's the deal with all of these things now. We just hope that we get enough subscribers to break even corporately.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the sacrificial lamb here is that, I mean, if you own a movie theater, you got to shut it down for 2021.
Well, through about mid 2021. Yeah.
But they've already committed to this for the year. So if you're a movie theater and you know whatever Warner Brothers was going to have as their big next November, their big Thanksgiving movie next year, if it's going to be simultaneous streaming, you're not gonna go to the theater.
How do you survive a year and a half of not being able to do business?
Small business loans.
Yeah. Well, you do exactly what
Yeah.
you're doing. You put all your chips on your streaming service, and that's probably
No.
right.
I'm talking about the movie theaters. They're just toast, man.
They're just not going to do it. And this is one of the things I was talking about in the channel, that's why this COVID year is so weird, because it's hitting the industries that normally survive bad financial times, right?
Yeah.
Everyone goes out to eat no matter what. Everyone goes out to drink no matter what. Everyone goes see a movie.
And those things are not happening.
Yeah.
Liquor and weed are fine.
Yeah. Weed's doing great.
It's true.
And maybe, you know what they should do? They should turn all movie theaters into grow houses.
Oh, you know what I just realized?
Well, the local grocery store here put like a restriction on how much booze you could buy.
Yeah.
Until the end of the year. You can only buy 2/5 of one type of booze at a time. So
Wow.
if you want Jack Daniels or, Grey Goose, you could only buy 2 bottles at a time, so that they have enough liquor on the shelf for everyone.
Yeah.
I swear people just going to Costco and buying the Costco Grey Goose.
Yeah.
No, because Grey
That's
Goose
good
makes
goose.
the Costco vodka.
Yeah.
That's always what I did. The other thing I realized, Tenet is supposed to be out, I think, this weekend on streaming.
Oh, I've got it already.
So do I, but I wasn't going to say it. So anyway, I was saying we should watch that for Monday and see if we understand it.
I thought we were watching the holiday special.
No,
you
for
mean
Monday.
for-
Just this Tenet has a real chance of being a decent movie, albeit a confusing one. You've already watched it?
No, but you are much more optimistic about this movie than I was.
I still wanted to see it on IMAX.
Well, we got a projector here in the new house. Maybe, 120 inches of Tenet might be okay.
I'll have to settle for 85.
Yeah.
All right, let's say goodbye to Jake and Elon. Fare thee
Goodbye,
well,
Jake and Elon.
Fare thee well, Chris Tabona.
Oh, bye, everybody.
Bye, Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye.
This has been episode 550 of Geeks in Space. I've been Rob Commander Taco Malda. We'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.